Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about Roboute, but I want to talk about the power that he wields within his weapon. The weapon, of course, is the Emperor's Sword. Now we all know that that sword can permakill demons. It will wipe them off. There's no retreating back to the warp. If you get hit, that is it. It's game over for you. So let's jump in and let's get talking. Just a heads up, I will be talking about some quotes from the Plague Wars book, but I won't go into full detail and be spoiling it, like, you know, the ending or anything like that. So if you haven't read it, don't worry, but if you have read it, then you'll obviously get a better grasp of what I'm going to be talking about. Just to bring people up to date on the whole situation with Guilliman getting the Emperor's Sword, I'm just going to briefly go over what happened. So when Guilliman was resurrected, he went back to Terra. He fought Magnus on Luna. He also fought against a big Khorne invasion actually on Terra. These are covered in the Gathering Storm series and also the Watchers of the Throne by Chris Ray. A great, fantastic read if you want to go and pick that up. But once he went to Terra and he had an audience with the Emperor discussed a few truths. We're told that the Emperor told Guilliman of the true purpose of the Primarchs, that they were merely just weapons and he didn't really see them as sons at all, which was kind of heart-aching for Guilliman in some kind of way, but Guilliman did have his stepfather, so I didn't think it really hurt him in that way. But what the big thing to come from that is that Guilliman took the Emperor's Sword. He holds the Emperor's flaming sword. It's kind of like something of office, like I am now the commander of the Imperium. The Custodes follow him. Basically, his word is the word of the Emperor. Now, I would say that Guilliman has even more power than the Inquisition when it comes to 40k politics and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to the power of this sword, I think it's best to first talk about the power of the Emperor. And we've seen his power in a couple of tales. Probably the best tale to tell is The Master of Mankind. It's a book by Aaron Ramsky-Bolden, another fantastic read for those of you who haven't gone there and get it. Fantastic, absolutely amazing. Now, there's a couple of scenes in there which really shows on how the Emperor affects chaos. Like there's a scene where the Emperor takes to the battlefield in the webway, and just his mere presence makes demons explode. Just looking upon the Emperor himself blows them up and kills them permanently. That's how much aura and power that this chap has. That's not even going in and cutting people and wielding people down. His mere presence being with demons makes them just explode and vanish into nothingness. Now let's talk about his sword, because his sword is so iconic. Any kind of artwork you see with the Emperor has this golden burning sword, which is just a piece of the Emperor which we've all come to love and just idolize because it's absolutely sheer amazing. Now, for the last 10,000 years, it's been sat at the Emperor's side, and I personally think since the Emperor's been in his so-called death state, he's neither dead nor alive, but he has been absolutely whipped with just mass amounts of psychic power. I would personally argue that he's even more powerful in the psychic sense now than he was when he was walking around, because all the acts of faith, which is mainly manifested into a kind of a new psychic power. Again, you can go down that road and saying, will the Emperor become a new chaos god or ascend to godhood just through the faith alone, because the acts of faith can cause certain types of powers and stuff. Again, that's another argument for another time. But the sword sat beside him, I personally think that's been soaking up that energy as well, and then to take it back out, I think that sword is going to be a more powerful object than it was 10,000 years ago. And you put it into Guilliman's hands now, I think it's got to be even bigger, better, stronger, even more fierce when it comes to slaying the arch enemy, which is chaos. Now, the following quote I'm going to discuss is a conversation between Mortarion and Kugoth. Now, Kugoth is a very, very powerful demon of Nurgle. He's not just like, a great unclean one or anything like that. He's actually the third favoured of Nurgle, so he's very, very high up. So the truth he speaks is the truth. He's not trying to mess around and sugarcoat it and make it all happy. He actually fears this sword. So this is the actual conversation which happens between him and Mortarion about Roboute and the sword of the Emperor. So I'll put the quote up on the screen as well, in case my thick northern accent trips you up. But it starts with Kugoth saying, "I see what there is. It is well within the power of Roboute Guilliman to the end the likes of Quaramar forever. The sword he bears," Kugoth shuddered. "Are you afraid of him, third favoured of Nurgle?" "I am," said Kugoth, deciding the course of honesty was best. "The sword he bears burns with the wounding fires of the anathema. The death it carries allows no rebirth, only an end. The sword is the creation of the being I will not name. It is the weapon that could kill me. It could kill you. Nothing can kill me. Ah, Lord Mortarion, do not be so sure." So that quote for me proves that Roboute Guilliman is not only one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy at the moment, but he's wielding probably the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, because it is a anti-chaos weapon, and we all know that chaos is spreading. Just look at the Great Rift, and for him to have a weapon that can permanently stop a demon, because this will kill it in its tracks. It's no going back to the warp, it's no going back and planning something new. It will outright destroy them, rip them apart, and kill them in their tracks. And of course, demonic primarchs fall into the category of demons now. I've always said that once a chaos primarch ascends, I've seen it that they give up their mortal beings and they ascend to that different plane of being chaos, a demon, demonic greater demons of whatever gods they choose to ascend to. So technically, Guilliman using a sword against a primarch would permanently kill that chaos demonic primarch. So for example, if Mortarion got stabbed through the heart with it, it's not Mortarion going back to the warp to have new plans. That's it. Mortarion's out the game. That could happen against Fulgrim, Angron, Perturab or Lorgar. All these chaos primarchs, these demonic chaos primarchs that chose to give up on the Imperium and chose the side of chaos, now really can be destroyed permanently by Guilliman, and I think that makes him very, 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 very powerful. Now, you can argue that, yeah, maybe some Primarchs are more better skilled than Guilliman, but still Guilliman does have that sword, and I think that sword gives him an advantage against a certain Primarch. So let's take, for example, Fulgrim. We all know that Fulgrim last time absolutely beasted Guilliman all over. He sliced him, he put him in, his slumber that he was in. You can argue that because of Fulgrim, the Imperium turned out the way it is, because they had no leader like Guilliman, because he was in stasis. But now, if there was to be a rematch, I think Guilliman would have the upper hand, because just having that presence of the sword wouldn't only weaken him, but I think it would empower him even more over a demonic primarch, because of the power that that sword holds, the story behind it, the amount of psychic presence that sword has. I'm sure that would bring an advantage to any type of fighting demons, but even more so against demonic primarchs. I just think it's a bit of a shame that we haven't seen the full potential of the sword as of yet. As I mentioned in that quote before, that we've seen the hints of how powerful the sword can be, but we haven't really seen any action of the sword being that powerful, wielded by Roboute. We saw it when the Emperor had it during the Master of Mankind, the book I mentioned at the start, that is set in the Horus Heresy, but we haven't really seen Guilliman use it. Hopefully, the next book of this series, because it is a series that was confirmed by Guy Haler, will have a third chapter. I think he's actually working on the third chapter now. It should be too long before that is actually out. I think it's going to be coming out in 2020. So hopefully in that book we'll actually see Guilliman wield the sword against something bigger, something better, something more powerful when it comes to chaos, and permanently delete it out of existence. I would personally love it to delete a demonic primarch, but I think that's really taking it away from a lot of people, since primarchs are coming back, and they are getting back in the whole narrative sense. And for Guilliman to permanently delete one before one returns to tabletop format, well, I think would be kind of an injustice, because I think we all want to see a demonic Fulgrim, we all want to see a demonic Angron model and stuff like that. So maybe 20 years down the line, maybe chop off Angron's head and permanently just get rid of him or something like that. I think that could be kind of cool. But for now, I think we can all agree that just get the Primarchs back in model format and let us just chuck them at each other on the tabletop. Now, something that someone asked me the other day on stream, actually, and this is what actually inspired the full video, is that someone was asking me, how powerful is Guilliman now with the Emperor's Sword? And one of the other questions I saw was, who actually made the Emperor's Sword? Where did it come from? And I absolutely have no idea. I've tried to find where it came from, is there any mention of it, and I've come up with nothing. One theory I did see is that the old ones made the sword, and that the Emperor went and found it and, you know, put his psychic essence into it, and so it made it even a greater weapon of what it actually was. But again, that's just all theory. Maybe the Emperor just, you know, made it himself and then just turned on psycho mode on it, and that's what we have now as the Emperor's weapon. Who bloody knows? Maybe that will get revealed in years to come, but as far as I'm aware, I can't find any reference on how the Emperor's sword was made or where it was made or anything like that. So if anyone can find that out, please post it below in the comment section, because I would love to read about the creation of the Emperor's sword. Alright, Chaperoonios, that is me done for another video. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. As always, I would love to get your thoughts, feedback on the matter. Do you think Roboute Guilliman is wielding the most powerful physical weapon in the galaxy today? And what I mean by physical weapon is that I don't mean like the Necrons exploding suns, wiping out star systems. I mean like a physical weapon, like a sword, a dagger, you know, something like that. Is there anything else out there that is as powerful as the Emperor's sword at the moment being wielded by someone in the galaxy? Let me know in the comment section below, and we can have a nice little chat about it down there as always. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed yourself. See you in a bit, have a good one, and bye bye.